Alright, radio check, hope you guys can hear me. We have got the British Grand Prix starting very, very shortly. We'll have 3 practice sessions, 1 qualifying and 1 race. But in 14 minutes time, the dark cars will make their way out onto the circuit for the first time this weekend, and we'll do some racing. Currently on the screen, we have got the Austrian Grand Prix track and no data. The data will come through shortly, and yeah, it'll be probably 3 to 7 minutes until we get the data. It's a little bit unpredictable about when it first comes through, but when it comes through, then we will have a consistent data throughout the live stream. Alright, thank you everyone for tuning in. So I'm doing the FP1 sessions. I don't know how much longer I will be doing FP1, FP2, FP3. For the foreseeable future, I probably will be doing it. Oh, there we go. We have got the data come through as well. Fantastic. Alright, it will be back in just 10 seconds. I will probably be doing FP1, 2 and 3 for the British Grand Prix, the Hungarian Grand Prix and the Belgian Grand Prix, the next upcoming 3 races. And then it will be, I'm not 100% certain on if I'll be continuing on with the practice sessions, but as of now, I will be doing the practice sessions, so yeah. Alright. Good morning, folks. Good morning, Mark Hindle, Scroot Farms, and Toya and Raptor join. Nice to see everyone is here. Right. Yes, well, there's a lot to talk about. Quite a few things have happened in that 1 week break between the Austrian Grand Prix and this race. We've had quite a lot of action. Quite a lot of talk between talk of the incident between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. There have been, some people that have come out and said it was a racing incident. Some people think that it was Lando Norris' fault. Some people think it was Verstappen's fault. Either way, what is done is done. I think I think Lando Norris and Max Verstappen have had a chat about it, and they will have talked about what happened and potentially come to a conclusion. So who knows? Why is Jack doing that? It is because it's FP1, so some of the drivers are coming out to do some testing. So we've got Oliver Behrman, who has got a multi-year contract signed at Haas. He is going to be driving for the Haas team. We have got Jack Doohan driving for the Alpine team. We have got, it looks like Hadjar is driving for the Racing Bulls, or it might be Red Bull, I'm not sure. It's a Red Bull actually, yeah. Isaac Hadjar is driving for the Red Bull second car instead of Sergio Perez. And then, is there anyone else? Someone in the number 14, someone in 14th position. I don't know who that is, but I will. I'll wait and see who. I'll double check what driver is driving the Alpine car by the looks of it. Yeah, we've got a lot of new drivers making their way. Of course, Silverstone is a circuit where drivers have a lot of experience, and hence, because of that experience, the teams feel a lot more confident giving the drivers practice sessions in Silverstone, where there's loads of runoff. The drivers have driven there before, compared to giving them a practice session at, say, Baku, where the walls are tight and chances of mistake are much higher. So, Franco Colapinto will be driving the Williams, and Isaac Hadjar will be driving the Red Bull. And Jack Doohan is driving the Alpine, and Oliver Behrman is driving the Haas. Oh, apologies for the sneeze there. Colapinto. Alright, FP1, FP2 is the practice session, so I'll have practice 1, where the drivers get acclimatised to circuit, they do their install laps. Potentially, if they have some upgrades, they'll be driving around with aero rakes and some Flovis, but otherwise, it seems to be... we've got quite a few upgrades this weekend, so I'll let you know on how those upgrades work out and which team have brought them. But of course, it is a home race for quite a few drivers here. Of course, we've got Lando Norris, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, those 3 right up there at the top of the pack as well. The British fans will be delighted. And 3 Aussies in the field as well. Yeah, when Jack Doohan is there. Did Haas bring upgrades? Unfortunately, no, I don't think so. They have just... Well, I think normally if you do bring upgrades, you don't want to put a test driver in. So, yeah, it's Haas haven't opted for the upgrades this weekend. I'm sure they'll be bringing some more soon enough. Yeah, four Australian drivers, including Bottas. Bottas has really been, well, I don't know. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but he's been doing a lot of Australian things by the looks of it on social media. Hope you're doing all right, Multi Ninja. Yeah. All right, 8 minutes till we get going, and the Red Bulls have brought massive upgrades this weekend. They've upgraded their side pod, their floor. It's got a whole lot more complex. There's lots of intricate pieces of carbon fiber, and the technicians will have been machining away, trying to get everything as perfect as possible. So we'll wait and see if that works out for them. If you do remember back to the previous weekend, Red Bull, they ran split strategies in FP1. They were trying to investigate what was the problem with their car and what they needed to change to make the car quicker. And they did that. And I think what they've done is opted for a certain upgrade package that they've brought now into the British Grand Prix, and they've used the data that they got in Austria to finalise the upgrade package and finalise which one they're going to use, and then they obviously manufactured it in the week between Austria and Silverstone. So yeah, Red Bull, we'll see if their upgrades work out. Usually they do, but past couple of upgrades they have been going slightly in the wrong direction, so we'll keep an eye out for that. And of course, last weekend we did have the Red Bulls on split upgrade packages. This weekend we have got the Ferraris. Ferraris have been falling back a bit. At the start of the season they were the second fastest car, but now it seems to be McLaren, and now Mercedes are fighting with the Ferrari. So Ferraris have fell back a bit, and in the hope of finding some answers, they've run split strategies this weekend, split specifications for their drivers. I don't know who's going to have the upgraded package, or I don't even think it'll be upgraded package. It'll be one that they think might work and the another option that they think might work, but they don't really know. So they'll be, looking for answers, and if they can find the answers, then maybe by the the end of the summer break, or just before the summer break, they will have found some solutions. Do you think Red Bull's performance problems coincide with Adrian's departure? Well, I think there is. I think it's a little bit too early to say that Red Bull's performance problems have come from Adrian Newey's departure. I'd say normally upgrade packages, they are they're in development for a couple of weeks, couple of months before, and now Adrian Newey has left for a month or so. I don't know, actually, maybe it's been 2 months, but either way, I think it would be maybe in the second half of the season we'll see upgrade packages that have no input from Adrian Newey, but normally, because he's not the person that's doing the nitty-gritty work for every single thing. He kind of designs the overarching vision for the upgrade packages. So I think he probably could have scheduled 3 or 4 upgrade packages before he left, and Red Bull have still got that to work off. But by the time they do reach, the end of the season, the final third of the season, they will, they'll be totally away from Adrian Newey's leadership, and they'll be behind someone else's. So I would say if next season Red Bull are absolutely nowhere, or Ferraris catch up massively or something, then that can safely be attributed to Adrian Newey leaving and them not having the most optimal upgrade packages from the best engineer in Formula 1. But I think now is a little bit too early. Yeah. All right, where can I watch the live broadcast? If you do want to watch the live broadcast, F1 TV Pro, you can watch it there. The link is in the description. You just got to press the show more button and it should appear there. Do you think Behrman is qualified enough for Formula 1, or does he need more time in Formula 2? Well, that is a very good question, and I think today's practice session is going to answer that. But I think, the fact is that Oliver Behrman, out of all of the drivers in Formula 2, some drivers may be quicker than him in Formula 2, some drivers may not, but Oliver Behrman has got experience in a Formula 1 car. He's driven at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, which is one of the toughest circuits physically, and also in terms of, slight loss of concentration leads to a mistake. So Oliver Behrman drove around that circuit for 50 odd laps and ended up scoring points, and has done really well. So out of all of the drivers, even if he isn't the quickest in Formula 2, I think he is most definitely the most qualified out of all of them to be in Formula 1. Yeah, is there any chance for rain in the weekend? There definitely is. There was a forecast rain for today, so I think that might materialise in FP2. I'm going to double check the forecast, and there was also, it was also forecast rain for the race as well. But it is in the UK, the rain is the most unpredictable thing. Even the Met Office, which is the UK's National Weather Service, they can't even predict when it's going to rain or not. Like, it's so inaccurate. So I wouldn't really trust it. But yeah, and if you guys didn't know, I live in the UK, so that's how I can say that the UK's weather prediction is totally off anyway. Yeah, it was rain for Saturday and Sunday, and then it changed to just rain on Friday and Sunday, and then it changed to, I think, just Friday. But if I check it now, it'll be something different. So yeah. What about Kimi Antonelli? Well, Kimi Antonelli, I think Toto Wolff has got a lot of belief behind him, and maybe, this is the thing with Kimi Antonelli. I don't know of any other Mercedes Academy drivers. Like, Kimi Antonelli is the only one I know. Whereas in previous years, they've always had up and coming drivers. Previously they had Ocon, they had Van Dorn, they had Russell, they had all of these drivers that were coming through the Mercedes development and the Mercedes Driver Academy, and now they've only got Kimi Antonelli as far as I can tell. They do have a couple of the drivers, but none of the big names that are doing really well in F2. So yeah, I think Mercedes are now just putting all of their backing behind Kimi Antonelli, but that's also because he is the only option that they really have, from their driver academy. So yeah, Kimi Antonelli is a great driver by the sounds of it, but yeah, still no experience in a Formula 1 car, so what you can't really, you never really know. Stoffel Van Dorn, throughout his junior Formula career, he was doing fantastic, arrived at the scene next to McLaren, next to Fernando Alonso, and was absolutely nowhere to be seen, got out-qualified every single session of his rookie season by Fernando Alonso. Now, of course, Fernando Alonso, very quick driver indeed, but yeah, of course, junior Formula performances do not always translate to being quick in the, top of the pack in Formula 1. Not even a free practice for Kimi. I don't think so. I think Mercedes have brought upgrades this weekend. It came through on the FIA documents. So they'll be looking to try and have a baseline. So Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, a very good baseline for them. And that's why they're not going to go messing around with Kimi Antonelli, especially at Hamilton and Russell's home race. I think it'll be fair to just keep those two in the driving seat, and maybe the next weekend in Hungary or in the weekend after at Spa, it would be a great opportunity for Kimi Antonelli to get a drive in the car. Looking at the weather conditions, it is nice and cloudy out in Silverstone. The wind is quite light, only 2.5 kilometers per hour, but yeah, the clouds are just, they're there. We'll see if it ends up raining or not. It's a bit hard to say. Okay, if the updates work, then Red Bull wins. Otherwise, 1 Dutch and 2 Brits will be on the podium. Well, yeah. I think Max Verstappen definitely does have a chance of being on the podium. He might even win the race, and maybe Lando Norris will come out ahead. Maybe there'll be some sort of issue like there was in 2021. It is tough to say, but the green light is out at the end of the pit lane, and we do have a green flag. And there we go. We've got Oliver Behrman and George Russell and Lewis Hamilton all coming out onto the circuit. And whoops, it's just frozen there for a sec. Internet is not doing so great. I'm sure that will be fixed soon enough. Okay, come on, George beat Lewis Hamilton to the win. Well, George Russell has been doing really well, and I think that, of course, it is the home race, so it's tough to say. Maybe it will be Lewis Hamilton that gets better of George Russell, but both drivers will be looking to do their absolute best. we'll have to keep an eye out on these rookie drivers as well. They'll be driving around, and we'll see if they make any progress, if they can keep out of the way of all of the other drivers, and if they crash or not. It's going to be a lot of things to keep in mind here. But as the drivers come out for the first practice session, as you can see, everyone is out on a set of hard tyres by the looks of it, apart from Valtteri Bottas and Lance Stroll, who are on sets of medium tyres. A little bit of an interesting choice there, but I'm sure they'll be just doing an install lap by the looks of it. All right. Has Hadjar called team orders in Red Bull yet? No, I don't think so. All right. Yeah, McLaren have still got their new front wing that they brought in Austria, so it seems to be that the upgrades have worked for them, and it looks like they've got the front suspension as well, because it is kind of a package, the front wing, front suspension upgrade combo. So if they've got the front wing, they definitely do have the front suspension as well. All right. Why is Perez not there? Perez is not here because Isaac Hadjar, a Formula 2 rookie, is driving in place of him for the first practice session. The drivers do have to get a little bit of experience, the Formula 2 drivers, in a Formula 1 car before they can get their super license to compete in a race, and hence the teams have decided to give Isaac Hadjar a practice session to drive the car in. We've got the McLarens out with an aero rake. Lando Norris is out on a set of hard tyres with the brand new front wing, doing some doing some controlled speed runs, where he goes onto the steering wheel, sets the speed of, he sets up a cruise control basically. Right, I want to go at 100 miles an hour, and then he goes round corners at 100 miles an hour and goes down the straight at 100 miles an hour, and the teams analyze the data coming through the aero rakes to try and get a good read of what is going on with the car. Is it working as expected? All right, Lance Stroll has had a brake-by-wire failure. The brake pedal is very long, and he's coming into the pits there, so not ideal there for Lance Stroll. Not a good start to the weekend, having a brake failure. Maybe that is a quick fix, but otherwise he might be sat in the garage for a little while, which will not be the best of will not be the best uses of time for Lance Stroll, because he really has got to do a bit of practice, and potentially get their Aston Martin into the points. That would be the aim by the looks of it. All right. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Of course, if you are, then be sure to hit the like button. It really will help out the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. Hopefully we can hit 77k. We're only 20 or so subscribers away. All right. Yeah. There we go, Max Verstappen up at the top of the pack, 1.2 seconds ahead of the rest. Of course, this is nothing to read into. This is, of course, free practice 1. And, we've got a long time to go before Max Verstappen gets anywhere close to his pole time from last year. All right, we've got a couple of the new drivers out. Oliver Behrman has done 3 laps now. Valtteri Bottas once again comes across the line, puts himself up into up into second place. A very nice lap there from Valtteri Bottas, but he's of course on those medium tyres, and the yellow is for slower than personal best, folks. Slower than personal best. Pierre Gasly is not driving because there is Oliver Colapinto. Someone Colapinto is driving in his place in the Alpine car. He is one. Oh no, it's not Colapinto. It's Jack Doohan. Jack Doohan, the Alpine reserve driver, is driving instead of Pierre Gasly. So that's why Gasly is currently sat in the garage. and Jack Doohan, the rookie Formula 2 driver, is driving around the circuit. Are we good to count Logan Sargent and Joe out for next season? By the looks of it, things are going that way. Of course, Logan Sargent, his pace has not been that well. James Vowles has expressed publicly that he does want to find another driver. Who's been in the talks with Carlos Sainz and a couple of other drivers. So we'll wait and see what comes of the second Williams seat. But Guan Yu Zhou, he, of course, he's been doing quite well. Like, if you compare him to Valtteri Bottas, who we know as a baseline is a quick driver, Guan Yu Zhou is doing pretty well. So, maybe he's in contention a little bit, but the problem, and not even the problem, the bonus with selecting Guan Yu Zhou as your driver is that you get quite a few sponsors coming with you. Guan Yu Zhou, of course, being a Chinese driver, there are no other Chinese drivers on the grid, and because of that, there are quite a few sponsors that would like to sponsor him and the team that he's driving for. So Guan Yu Zhou does have one thing going for him, but the question is that enough for him to get a seat for next year? It's tough to say. Lewis Hamilton up there at the top of the pack, and then we've got Yuki Tsunoda up there in second place. Oliver Behrman doing a great job going all over the curbs through Copse Corner. Fantastic driving. But yeah, he's doing a good job in that Haas car that he will be driving next year. Of course, he signed a multi-year contract as well. So by the looks of it, this seems to be part of the Ferrari driver academy. I think Ferrari have done a little deal with Haas, saying you can drive. If Oliver Behrman drives for your team, then we will give you a little bit of money. I'm sure Haas will gladly take that. And Oliver Behrman is not too bad of a driver, really. If he's done a good job around Saudi Arabia, you can rely on him to be fairly consistent, and we'll see what he can do. And in fact, there he goes. He goes just a little bit ahead of Nico Hulkenberg. Of course, this practice, nothing much to read into, but of course the lap times will be something to keep an eye on. We've got a little yellow flag deployed. It looks like Tsunoda has had a bit of an issue coming through turn number 7. Let's keep an eye out for what's happened there. Tsunoda, it looks like he's got back onto the circuit by the looks of it. Yeah, let's wait and see. All right. Oh no, Tsunoda's stuck. Yeah, Tsunoda's stuck. Never mind. He was about to get out the gravel trap, but we have got a red flag out onto the session because Yuki Tsunoda is stuck in the pit lane. Not stuck in the pit lane, stuck in a gravel trap. And that is why we have got the red flag out on the circuit. Yeah, they've jumped out he's jumped out of the car and everything's fine, but yeah, he's got the car stuck in a bit of gravel. Okay, I'm going to have a quick sip of water, but all the cars will just be making their way back to the pits as we have the first red flag of the weekend. We'll see how many more there are, but in practice, if there is a red flag, it's unlike qualifying, and the timer keeps ticking down. So every single minute that there's a red flag, that is one less minute of potential practice for these young rookie drivers that are driving. So Jack Doohan, Isaac Hadjar, and Colapinto will all be, and Behrman as well, will be looking to hopefully get back out as soon as possible. And it does kind of put a thorn into the run plans of everyone else. It's pretty unlikely that they'll be able to finish everything. Actually, I think they leave a little. Yeah, so just looking at Yuki Tsunoda's onboard, he was going through turn number 7, and the rear of the car just came around, and it would not. Well, you could basically just not stop it. The momentum of the car just carried it through into a spin, and then he got stuck in the gravel. Yeah. and kind of the way that he got put into the gravel, the momentum kind of just ruined everything, and he was stuck there because he sort of dug himself a hole when he got into the gravel, and now he's climbed himself out of the car, and there'll be a crane on the way shortly. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Let me know what your predictions are for this weekend, folks. There is quite a lot of action that we have got upcoming. So, who's going to get pole? Who do you think is going to crash out? Will we have more action between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris? Will it boil over like last time? Or will we have some excellent racing like we did last weekend? We could have a Mercedes 1-2. There could be 3 British drivers on the podium. And who knows what can happen. But it is a good week for Formula 1 racing. That's all I can say. Alright, there we go. We are 6 subscribers away from 77,000. That is fantastic. Yeah, the crane is now making its way to Yuki Tsunoda's car, and it'll be it'll be a couple of minutes till they take that back to the pits, and we'll have the green flag back out again. Indeed it has. It's got a lot more exciting in the past couple of races, and it is great to see, competition and a lot more fighting as well, right up at the top of the pack. So yeah, it's good, and the drivers are getting closer and closer, the team's getting closer and closer. Maybe Red Bull's upgrade package works absolute wonders and they're miles ahead again, but it is tough to say what will happen. Their upgrade packages of late have not been working out as well as they expected, so maybe maybe they'll go backwards. There is a chance that happens, but I'm sure Red Bull have prepared for those circumstances. Tsunoda got stuck at the side, stuck in the gravel, and that is why he is. That's why we've got a red flag. Yeah. Okie dokes. They've picked up the car in the crane, and they've already taken it off the circuit. So they'll just be clearing up the gravel now, and we will be ready to go do some, not racing, or we'll just be practice, but nonetheless, yeah. If we're just looking at the overlay data between Esteban Ocon and Jack Doohan, the 2 drivers currently driving the Alpine car are, of course, Pierre Gasly, sat out of this practice session in place of Jack Doohan. If you look at the track dominance, which parts of the circuit is which driver quicker, it is quite clear to see Esteban Ocon is quicker for most parts of the circuit, but going through turn number 1 and turn number 4, and the second parts of Maggots and Beckett's, Jack Doohan is slightly quicker. So Jack Doohan there showing promising signs, doing well there to match Esteban Ocon. We have got DRS enabled, the track is clear, and we'll have drivers making their way out of the pit lane very, very shortly. Hopefully we'll see Kimi's rookie season in 2026. Yes, I mean, there's a chance that it'll be 2025 if Toto Wolff gets his way and Kimi Antonelli can prove that he is a quick Formula 1 driver that can adapt to the conditions, or maybe it will be in 2026. It's hard to know. Yeah, alright. Let's see. I will have a check of what last year's pole time was, but it is, I think, we're still quite a ways away from last year's pole time, to be honest. And if we just to summarise what's gone on here and why nobody's on the circuit, the red flag was called out after Yuki Tsunoda spun it on the exit of turn number 7. His car has been recovered and he'll be taking part in the remaining practice session, but it will be a green flag. The green flag is in fact waving now. The track is clear and the pit lane is open. So we'll have, there we go, George Russell makes his way out into the circuit. Okay. 43 minutes of practice remains. Hope you all are enjoying the coverage, folks. If you are, then be sure to hit the like button. Really would help out the channel. And hopefully you folks aren't getting any adverts either. I have tried to switch them off at YouTube. So, yeah. I got quite a long queue at the end of the pit lane, but everyone is now slowly but surely made their way out onto the circuit. Alright, who is number 13? It is Jack Doohan, is in 13th position. 4 new drivers that we have currently got in FP1 here. Jack Doohan, Oliver Bearman, and Isaac Hadjar and Colapinto. This is just for the race, just for the practice. Sorry, they will not be here for the race. The usual drivers will take their slots back in FP2 and FP3, but as of now, we've got the other drivers in for the first practice session to experience the Formula 1 car and get a couple more miles under their belt for their super license that they will be trying to get in the upcoming months. Checo will be racing. He's just not taking part now. Isaac Hadjar is driving his car instead. Why are people giving Ollie so much credit? He's 14th in F2 and only got 7th in a Ferrari. I know it's his first race, but Ferrari was 2nd or 3rd fastest that weekend. He should have easily been in the points. That is a very good point. You know, that if it was Carlos Sainz, we would have all been saying, "Oh yeah, 7th place. What are you doing, mate? You gotta pick up the pace." But given the fact that it was Oliver Bearman and he hadn't done FP1, he hadn't done FP2, he'd never driven a Formula 1 car before, or maybe he'd driven a test session or something, but nothing in terms of races. Doing it with only 1 practice session and still qualifying pretty high up as well, in that with 1 practice session, 1 quali session, and that was it. His performance was quite remarkable. So yeah, and normally, you know, that's something that you don't often see. You see drivers come from F2 and they're nowhere near the pace. You know, we've seen this quite often. Mick Schumacher, he came into Formula 1 and he was nowhere near where he was required to be. And same for Stoffel Van Dorn. Like, these drivers from Formula 2, albeit Stoffel Van Dorn did brilliant in the junior Formula categories, and he'd won F3, I think, and got really close to winning F2. But if you can't come into Formula 1 and deliver, that's the big thing. If you can deliver, then you're a great driver. If not, then you're just another one of the rookies that were good in the rookie categories but couldn't make it in Formula 1. So Oliver Bearman, he's kind of just showing the signs that he can... that he could be one of the drivers that can actually stay in F1 rather than being one of the rookies that make it to F1 and then leave after a year or 2. For comparison, Lance Stroll with 7 years experience in Formula 1 went into the wall and DNF'd in the same Grand Prix that he'd been driving for years. That is very true. Yeah, Lance Stroll did have a nice little accident into the barriers, and yeah, Oliver Bearman didn't. So it does go to show, though, what is expected of you as a rookie. You know, you can't be expected to come into Formula 1 and take a year or 2 to find your feet before you start going quick. You've got to get into Formula 1 and you've got to be going quick as soon as possible. That is the aim. Ooh, Lando Norris gets an absolute enormous snap coming out of turn number 4. This is just a replay here, but Lando Norris struggling a little bit. The car not doing what he expected. But he seems to be doing all right as of now. Guys, who's the world champion in 2024? Well, if you look at the current point standing, it seems to be Max Verstappen. But, this is a very, very big but. You know, if there are 2 DNFs and Lando Norris goes on to win 2 of those races, then there is a much better chance for Lando Norris. But of course, how likely is that to happen? And how likely is it that Lando Norris will be able to capitalise for the remainder of the season as well? Of course, he's never done a title charge. He's never been close to competing for first place in the championship. That comes with a lot of added extra pressure. How will he cope with that? It's hard to say, really. Has anyone ever taken Max's seat in any practice session? I'm sure someone will have taken Max's seat at some point, especially in the early days of Red Bull. Not in the early days of Red Bull, but I think when Max was a Toro Rosso driver, or when Max was a Red Bull driver with Daniel Ricciardo alongside of him, it might have been a lot more likely that Max had to give up his seat at that point. But as of now, the reigning world champion, I don't think he'll be giving up his seat for a Formula 2 rookie. Is Tsunoda out for the rest of FP1, or is his car being brought back to the pits? His car is being brought back to the pits. There's a long way to coming back to the pits. This is, of course, the 5th longest circuit on the Formula 1 calendar, 5.6 kilometres. And the drivers will it'll take a little bit of a while for the crane to carry the car back, so he should be coming out with 20 minutes or so left of the session. Where do you think Carlos Sainz is going? Ooh, that is, it's very, very tough. I would have expected Carlos Sainz to find a contract by now. He is, of course, one of the quickest drivers on the grid, and he's been performing exceptionally well as well at Ferrari. So he's on form, he's quick. Then what more could you want from a Formula 1 driver? So I don't know. Maybe a 1-year contract at Mercedes, maybe a 2-year contract at Williams. Potentially, you could be looking at Kick Sauber when they turn into Audi. Maybe, I don't think he would go to Alpine. So, who knows? Who knows where Carlos Sainz would end up going? Thank you, Mark, for the chat message there. Very much is appreciated. Who is at Mercedes if Kimi is not at Mercedes? Well, that is a question for Toto Wolff to answer. He has been so intent on getting Kimi Antonelli. I don't know if he's considered his options. Of course, there have been a lot of phone calls. A lot of people have been trying to get that seat at Mercedes. Maybe Fernando Alonso. There were rumours that Fernando Alonso was trying to get the seat. There were rumours that Seb Vettel was called by Toto Wolff. I'm sure Carlos Sainz has had lots of conversations with Toto Wolff trying to find out if he can get that seat. So a lot of things are in the works, and it's hard to say because Toto Wolff has been so much behind Kimi Antonelli, has been putting all of his effort. The FIA super license regulations have been changed, saying a 17-year-old can now do it, can now get a super license. Then the regulations were changed for Kimi Antonelli, so he can get his super license. So there have been a lot of things going on behind the scenes to try and get Kimi Antonelli a Formula 1 drive. And if it doesn't work out, then I don't know what Toto Wolff has got planned. Yeah, according to the rumours, Carlos Sainz would join every team. That is very, very true. We've heard that from everyone. James Vowell's been talking at Williams. With everyone apart from Ferrari, of course. Did Ferrari bring upgrades? By the looks of it, Ferrari have not brought any upgrades. They've brought their circuit-specific stuff. So, for this circuit where we do have high-speed corners, but quite a few long straights. So they've opted, they've picked a certain type of rear wing and a certain front wing as well to go along with it. But no upgrades of sort to speak of Ferrari. What they have done, though, is split the specification. I think Ferrari are running a slightly older spec on one of the cars and a newer spec on the others to try and investigate the car and try and find some issues that they can resolve in the upcoming upgrade package and hopefully spring them back up into second fastest car and take that away from McLaren. Who is your favourite driver of all time? My favourite driver of all time would be Sebastian Vettel. He was the first Formula 1 race I watched, 2018 Spa. That was the first one I watched, and Seb Vettel went on to win that race. And of course, that is where the iconic commentary line of "Here comes Sebastian Vettel" comes from as well. So, yeah, Seb Vettel is definitely my favourite driver. Checo Perez is sat in the garage. Isaac Hadjar is driving in his place for free practice 1. In free practice 2 and 3, Sergio Perez will be out onto the circuit. Yeah, it looks like Sainz won't go to Haas, given the fact that it has been confirmed that Oliver Bearman will be there. It will be a bit odd for both drivers to change seats going into a new season, but yeah. Guan Yu Zhou coming over the radio saying, "I'm jumping badly." Of course, he's not jumping in the car. The car is rather jumping around, and we can see that on the replay. A bit of porpoising going on. I haven't said that in a while, but yeah, they're going to have to modify the suspension settings and change the ride height on that Sauber. Otherwise, the floor is going to get absolutely destroyed by this circuit. What is that small dot around turn number 7? That small dot is the stricken remains of Yuki Tsunoda's car. He's still not out onto the circuit. The crane operators will be taking his car back to the pits, and once he comes out the pits, that will disappear. But it's just a little reminder that Yuki Tsunoda had a spin at turn 7 and got stuck in the gravel. What do you think of Lewis's move to Ferrari? Well, of course, I think everyone wants to drive for Ferrari at one point or another. Ferrari, of course, is one of the most well-respected car manufacturers in the world. And Lewis Hamilton has been given the opportunity and has also been given a massive load of cash to go with it. So why not? Why would you not take the opportunity? Of course, there will be a bit of a culture clash between I think the British fans of Lewis Hamilton and the Italian fans of Ferrari, but nonetheless, I'm sure they'll manage to figure it out, and the Tifosi and Team LH will be able to support the same driver. Yeah. It all seems well, really. Nothing too... it looks good, really, for Lewis Hamilton. Not much else to add. Do you think Daniel Ricciardo is losing his seat next year? Well, that is a tough question to answer. Of course, as you can see, Isaac Hadjar is testing the Formula 1 car for Red Bull. And if that's anything to go by, they are looking to bring Isaac Hadjar into Formula 1. So, yeah, I think Daniel Ricciardo... he will have his work cut out. Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadjar, these two Red Bull rookies, they've been waiting in the wings, trying to get a Formula 1 seat. And if Daniel Ricciardo can't perform and can't do will not do as expected and not bring that AlphaTauri or whatever it's called now, a Racing Bull, up into the points, then his career is at serious question. So... yeah, I think Daniel Ricciardo, if he does get a contract for next year, it will only be a one-year contract. I don't think he's getting any sort of multi-year deal down at the sister Red Bull team. So what I can say is Daniel Ricciardo is on a bit of thin ice. Now the question remains, will he get fired at the end of the season or not? It's tough to say. It depends on his remaining performances. But he's currently on thin ice with the Racing Bulls team. Oh yeah, we have accomplished the like goal. I guess I can knock that up to 500 likes, but we've got 2,000 people tuned into the live stream. Thank you very, very much for tuning in, and I hope you are enjoying the coverage. Alright, also, yeah, if you are not subscribed, then be sure to do so, and yeah, I've also set up a Patreon. I've set it up for this weekend, so if you guys are interested in supporting me on Patreon, of course, I've been doing the practice sessions and I've been doing qualifying in a race for the past, I think, couple of years now, 2 or 3 years, and I'll be doing the practice sessions for the foreseeable future. Yeah, if you'd like to support the channel financially, that would be a massive, massive help. So yeah, Patreon will buy me a coffee. The link is in the description if that interests you. Alright, we're getting the top speeds information coming through. We've got Valtteri Bottas hitting top speeds of 320 kilometers an hour coming down the coming down the Bellington Straight. Of course, that is with some DRS as he goes into Stowe Corner, and he comes across the line, does Valtteri Bottas, to come into 7th position. He's out on a set of soft tyres as well, looking to push a little bit. It is a bit early out in the weekend. The circuit has not gripped up. We've had I think F2 will be coming out in between the practice sessions. but the circuit is quite green, and the drivers will be still getting used to, well, the grip levels will be increasing slowly but surely. All right. If Daniel Ricciardo does well, do you think he'll stay at... yeah, I think if Ricciardo does well, he'll stay at Racing Bulls, looking to get a contract probably for 2026. Because here's the thing, if he's at Racing Bulls and he can do another year at Racing Bulls and do well, Daniel Ricciardo is still a fairly well-respected driver around the paddock, and he does bring a lot of sponsors with that as well, with him as well. So he would be a good option for 2026. You know, if there's a seat opening at the second fastest team or the third fastest team, Daniel Ricciardo is your man. So that's what his aim will most likely be. Stay in Racing Bulls, perform well, and hopefully when the new regulations come around, get a great seat up at the top of the pack. Okay. But of course, there'll be a lot of other drivers trying to do that as well. Carlos Sainz will be trying to do that. We'll probably have Yuki Tsunoda as well trying to do that. Maybe even Fernando Alonso, if he sticks around till then. I'm sure he will be. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Yeah, Tsunoda's still not come out. He's got 27 minutes left of the practice session. There's a bit of rain around the area, but nothing over the circuit as of now. We may have rain in FP2. Now, I don't know if that means the drivers will come out of the pit lane or not, but rain in FP2 is probably good news for the weekend. Should spice things up a little bit. And that might be the reason why we've got a couple of drivers coming out on a set of softs and doing their soft runs now, because in FP2, they're not going to be able to do soft runs if it is wet. And I really do want it to rain. Of course, me living in the UK, it rains all of the time. So if it could just rain on a Sunday when the Formula 1 cars are out, then that could, that would make the race so much more exciting. Of course, we do have experience with rain in Canada, and it made the races absolutely fantastic. So, to be fair, in Austria, we didn't even need rain, and the racing was still great. So, who knows? Will you go to see the Grand Prix IRL? I will be doing that at some point. I haven't gone this year round, but I'll wait and see if I can book the tickets early enough for next year. Or maybe I'll go to another circuit, because it is quite expensive at Silverstone, even to just sit out on the grass for the race. It is quite pricey. So it might actually be cheaper for me to get a plane to the Netherlands and go to the Zandvoort Grand Prix than it would be to go to Silverstone Grand Prix. Yeah. Half rain, half sun would be a very fun and interesting race. Indeed it would. Alright. Max Verstappen goes up there in the top on the set of medium tyres, purple in the second sector, purple in the third sector. He's really pushing there, staying within track limits nicely, but definitely pushing very, very hard. And the Red Bulls have a nice little livery here, Pepe Jeans livery by the looks of it. They've got a new sponsor, and they've got a special sponsor livery for this weekend. And, well, it looks alright. The Red Bull normally looks pretty good most of the time anyway. It's kind of just a standard... It's kind of the standard livery that they've had for forever, basically. Yeah, it is cheaper flying from the UK to another European country. I was looking into it myself, so I don't blame you. Yeah, it is. It sucks, really. But maybe there'd be better racing in Monza. You fly out to Milan and then get a bus or something to Monza. And I'm sure that would be as great, if not better, than the British Grand Prix, of course, with all of the... if you're a Ferrari fan, of course, I think going to the Monza Grand Prix would be brilliant. If you're a Max Verstappen fan, go to the Dutch Grand Prix or go to the Austrian Grand Prix. If you're a Fernando Alonso fan, go to the Spanish Grand Prix. And of course, if you are a British fan, then Silverstone is the place for you. Russell up there in second place. Purple in the second and third sectors takes that away from Max Verstappen. So good job there from Russell. He's only 10 milliseconds behind Max Verstappen. Really good job there. But of course, we've still got, can't really read into this much whatsoever. We've still got a long time to go before we get some racing on our hands. Yes, 4 new drivers debuting. We have got Isaac Hadjar, Jack Doohan, Colapinto and Behrman. Those are the 4 new drivers out in the FP1 session, and that is why we have got quite a few drivers sitting out of the session, like Pierre Gasly, Sergio Perez. Who else is sitting out there? And then I think it's Kevin Magnussen and someone else. Who is it? And Logan Sargent. Yeah. Currently listening while at Silverstone. Well, that's fantastic. Hope you are enjoying the Silverstone Grand Prix. Hope the cars sound great. And do let us know of what the weather forecast is like. If it does start raining, then we've got to be the first people to know. 23 minutes left of this practice session, folks. And as of now, Yuki Tsunoda still not made his way back out onto the circuit. Very, very interesting. I would have expected him to come out by now, but who knows. Montreal is the cheapest of the North American races. Yeah, I'm sure it is. It might be cheaper to fly out to Montreal than it would be to go to the Vegas race. Vegas was ridiculously expensive by what I heard on the internet. Is Yuki still in the gravel trap? No, he is not. He's just showing there on the map because his GPS was switched off in the gravel trap. His car has been taken back to the pits, but he's still not come out onto the circuit yet. I would have been at Silverstone, but the ticket prices for the hotels and the race are insane, and it didn't even sell out. Yeah, that was the other thing. Yuki is definitely not in the medical. Yuki has not, he just spun around, no sort of damage whatsoever. Silverstone's tickets, they didn't even sell out, and they were blaming it on Max Verstappen. They were like, oh, Max Verstappen is just beating everyone, so nobody wants to buy the Silverstone racing tickets. And I think most people haven't bought tickets to Silverstone mainly because of the fact it's so expensive, and that's why it's not sold out. All of the other races, the Austrian Grand Prix, the Imola Grand Prix, all of them did sell out, and they sold out because the tickets were priced fairly enough. So, yeah, that is... the Silverstone organisers have got to sort that out. Otherwise, it'll be far too expensive in the seasons upcoming seasons, yeah. How expensive are they? I think they are £300, so that's $450 to sit out on the grass on a Sunday. You don't even get a grandstand, you just sit out on the grass. Col is Franco Colapinto. He's a Formula 2 driver. I think he's currently in 6th position in the Formula 2 standings. And he's driving the Alpine... Oh no, he's driving the Williams car, sorry. Yeah, I'm in the UK looking abroad for the next year for the races. Yeah, it's a good option, really. All right. Interlagos is crazy expensive, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think Interlagos, well, of course, is one of the only races in South America, if not... Yeah, in South America, only one of the only races. So, if you are a Formula 1 fan in South America, then you've got to go to Brazil, really. That's the closest one to you, and I guess that's why the tickets are fairly expensive. Who is in the second Red Bull? It is Isaac Hadjar, a Formula 2 rookie. The Red Bull might be trying to get into the Racing Bull seat instead of Daniel Ricciardo. That is, Isaac Hadjar is one of the potential replacements for Daniel Ricciardo. It could either be Liam Lawson or it could be Isaac Hadjar. Who knows? I don't think Mexico is in South America. Mexico is still part of North America as far as I know, or maybe Central America, but yeah. All right. Just watched all the F2 races this season. I confirm the battles are way longer and better. Yeah, that is of course, Formula 2, of course, with all of the cars being the exact same performance, it is a lot easier for battles to be going on for multiple laps, for multiple corners throughout the circuit. The drivers, of course, are very, very close together as well. Okie dokes. What else have we got going on? 18 minutes and 20 seconds left. Currently, Oscar Piastri up there in first position on a set of soft tyres. Isaac Hadjar on a set of hards goes a little bit wide, very, very narrowly wide. But I'm sure he'll say I judged it perfectly. But he kicks up a little bit of gravel on the exit of turn number 7. Yeah. The Red Bulls have brought upgrades, folks, so we'll have to keep that in mind when we go into qualifying. Will the Red Bulls come out ahead of Lando Norris? Will we have Lando Norris? Well, will it be Max Verstappen ahead of Lando Norris? Will Oscar Piastri come into the battle? He's not had a tough couple of weekends in Austria. He would have been in third position in qualifying, but got his lap time deleted. I think in the previous weekend he was struggling a little bit, but in last season, this season, and this season, last season and this season, Oscar Piastri has been matching Lando Norris for the most part. You know, he's not been that far off. So it'll only be a matter of time before we have 2 McLarens up in there in the fight against Max Verstappen, and only one Red Bull, of course. Sergio Perez still nowhere to be seen. His performance has improved slightly of late. You know, he's made it through into a Q3 session rather than getting eliminated, but that is a fairly low bar for a Red Bull driver that is currently and for a Red Bull driver and a Red Bull car that is currently top of the constructors. So there is ways to go for Sergio Perez. He's still got to make it up into the top 5, and if he can do that consistently, then Red Bull will be pleased with things. What happened to Tsunoda? He spun out at turn number 7, got stuck in the gravel, and that is why he is still in the pit lane. Only done 4 laps as of this session, and yeah. And that's why he's out. Do you watch/have any interest in any other motorsports? Well, I do have an interest in Le Mans. Well, not Le Mans, as in sort of just the WEC series itself, and potentially a bit of IndyCar as well. I've had a couple of friends tell me that IndyCar, the racing is much closer. It's a lot better than Formula 1. So, yeah, I might watch an IndyCar race or 2, or maybe a WEC race as well. I was thinking about commentating the 24 hours of Le Mans, do a 24-hour stream. That would have been really crazy, but no, it did not end up doing that. The question is, every driver practicing actually racing on Sunday? That is, yeah, not every driver will be taking part on Sunday. Oliver Behrman, Colapinto, Hadjar and Jack Doohan, all of them are just practicing for the first FP1 session, and then we'll have the normal 20 drivers taking part in the race on Sunday. But yeah, I would maybe think about commentating Le Mans. I'm not sure how how you guys would sort of take to that. I'm sure if there's a weekend where there's no Formula 1 race and there's a WEC race on, I could definitely do a commentary of that. But I don't have as much experience or knowledge about WEC compared to as much as I do about Formula 1. You know. Who knows? Who knows what I'll be doing? Yeah. Right. Also, folks, if you have not subscribed, be sure to do so. It definitely will help out the channel. Hopefully we can hit 100k by the end of the year. Hopefully we can keep hitting these small little incremental targets, and soon enough we will hit 100k. Yeah. Do you like Verstappen? Honestly, I'm going to say, yeah. I'm a commentator. I try not to be too biased. All of the drivers are pretty good in my books. Yeah. Max Verstappen doing a decent job. Of course, his racecraft previous race was a little bit questionable, but I would also say Lando Norris wasn't also driving at his absolute peak racecraft ability, and it was just a little bit clumsy, and the drivers probably had a bit of a racing incident there. So, one incident isn't going to change my opinion of a driver. Repeated incidents, repeated mistakes, that probably will, but one incident, probably not. Yeah, a 24-hour stream would be exhausting, especially with an 8-hour safety car. Yeah, I would honestly, if there was an 8-hour safety car, I would say probably by the third hour, third or fourth hour, I would just go to sleep. Yeah, I don't know. It really did suck though, with the 24-hour race and you're 8 hours you're sat behind the safety car. It's like what's even the what's even the point, but yeah. Not ideal. All right, 12 minutes remain of this practice session. We've had a couple of incidents here. Jack Doohan getting held up by the looks of it, one of the Aston Martins. I don't know if that was Alonso or if that was Stroll, but either way, not looking too good there for the Astons, but of course it's practice, so it's not going to matter too much. Lando Norris comes across the line for a 1 minute 27.4 and a set of used soft tyres. Nicely done there from the Brit, and we'll wait and see if that translates out into quali. But if we're just watching his lap, he's done a fantastic job staying within track limits as well. He's not pushing that excessively hard, and his lap time is still doing wonders. Hello MCG, nice to see you here. And yeah, woohoo indeed. We've got some fantastic racing on our hands, and it's looking good here. Lance Stroll across the line, second place for him. He's done a good job there, and maybe the Aston Martin team will have a bit of a bounce back. But the previous races don't indicate that. Don't know what Stroll's really been up to and how he's got that second place, but it's probably just a low fuel run. Aston Martin do have a habit of doing that. They've done it in previous testing sessions as well. In Bahrain testing, they were doing so well, and I was like, oh, Aston Martin, they're going to be second quickest team. They're going to be right up there at the top, and then they were nowhere because they were just doing extra low fuel runs compared to everyone else, and that is why. And sometimes that overrepresents where they actually are in the field. So yeah, don't get your hopes up just yet, Aston Martin fans. Stroll, we've still got to wait and see what happens in qualifying. Have you seen a rocket-powered Mohawks channel? Indeed I have. I've seen one or two videos. I think I saw when Max Verstappen became a monster. I think that's the one I saw. Yeah. Who is... Well, the four new drivers that are out: Isaac Hadjar, Jack Doohan, and Franco Colapinto. We have a yellow flag out on the session, out on the circuit, and that's quickly been cleared up to a green flag. But yeah, those guys are the rookies in doing their little practice sessions in Formula 1 to try and get their super license points for the upcoming seasons. If we look at the fastest sectors, Lance Stroll fastest in the first sector, Max Verstappen fastest in the second sector, and George Russell fastest in the third sector. 3 different cars, 3 different teams, and 3 different sectors. Max Verstappen over the radio saying it's starting to drizzle. Folks, it is raining in Silverstone. What a surprise. It's in the UK and it's raining. No, but yeah, Max Verstappen come over the radio saying it's starting to drizzle. We'll probably have a couple of minutes of rain on our hands, and I think FP2 might be a little bit wet. So let's wait and see. Drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. Yeah, that's going to screw up the drivers trying to get their clutch settings in, because for the start of the race, the drivers do have to at the end of the practice sessions, the drivers will make their way to the grid and do a race start off the grid to try and get the optimal clutch settings. And if it's wet, that's really going to throw a spanner into the works. But yeah, as of now, the clouds are getting grayer and grayer, and DRS has not been disabled as of now. So let's wait and see. We'll wait and see if it is actually raining or if Max Verstappen was giving us a bit of a false positive. Oh, and George Russell getting blocked a little bit on his flying lap. Not ideal there. We've got a bit of a replay. But yeah, 5th position there for George Russell on his set of medium tyres. Nicely done. And he's doing a bit of a long run there, and we'll see how it works out. Heard the UK have astonishing heat wave of 26 degrees. Yeah. Oh, you should see some people really really do not deal with the heat nicely. Yeah, the UK heat waves at 26 degrees. I've definitely seen quite a few things about that. It is what it is. I'm sure everyone in the UK will claim that the humidity makes it at least 10 degrees hotter, so 26 degrees feels like 36. But I'm sure it's just the fact that they haven't actually experienced real heat, so... All right. We've had a bit of issues with traffic. We've got all the drivers out on the circuit. We might even see this in qualifying, given that this is one of the longest circuit. Well, not one of the longest. It's 5th longest circuit on the Formula 1 calendar. It's one of the highest ones in length, and we're still having issues in terms of traffic. So the drivers have really got to be on top of their game here. Otherwise, a penalty will be coming their way. Yeah, 26 degrees normal day in India are a bit cold, actually, yeah. Yeah, I saw a couple of weeks ago Delhi had like a heat wave up to 50 degrees or so, which is mind-blowing, really. How come some are on used tyres when it's just first practice? They're on used tyres because they come in... Basically, the way that it calculates if the tyre's used or not is by if the driver has been into the pits with those tyres. So normally what happens is, Lando Norris, or say Piastri, he's currently out on a set of soft tyres. He's done maybe 2 laps, came into the pits, got refueled up, and then went out on the same set of soft tyres. And that's why it says that those are used tyres. Yeah. All right. Piastri up there. Yeah, Piastri's got a couple of issues, in fact. Yeah, he's got, by the looks of it, it's hydraulics. It's either power steering, hydraulics, but when hydraulics fail, quite a lot of things fail in the car. The pit lane entry is closed because he's parked up at the pit lane entry. And yeah, hydraulic leak, something along those lines. And we have got... And he's just trying to roll into the pit lane, so... It doesn't look like he's going to make it. Maybe the marshals will have to push him in. But yeah, they've got a while now till the second practice session, but they have got to find that leak, fix the leak, and make sure it doesn't happen again for Oscar Piastri. This could be a critical weekend for him. Lando Norris has been beating him in the past couple of races. Piastri's not been performing badly, but, he would like to be up there with his teammate, potentially up there on the podium. So, who knows? All right. Let's wait and see then. 5 minutes remain of this session. The pit lane entry is closed, and Oscar Piastri sat on the pit lane entry, and yeah, don't know what's going to happen there. And the marshals, by the looks of it, have come out to the pit lane, and they are now pushing Oscar Piastri towards the pits. Then they'll reopen the pit lane, and everything should be fine. Why does it say pit out and not pit exit? It is, well, I don't know. I think it just says pit out because it's fewer letters, so that means it can fit inside the red box. Okay. 4 minutes and 30 seconds remain, and we've got a replay of Charles Leclerc here really attacking and then just getting massively held up by traffic, and it is ridiculously dangerous coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Lance Stroll was blocking Charles Leclerc and potentially nearly collided with him as well. Yeah, Stroll over the radio saying that he needs to be told about, when the drivers are coming around near him. So, yeah, Stroll, he always seems to be one that gets involved in these sort of incidents. It's hard to say why. Okay, there we go. The pit lane entry is open. Oscar Piastri has been taken into the McLaren garage. And they've lifted the car up onto the jacks, and they'll be looking to find that hydraulic leak as soon as possible. Of course, they're not actually losing that much time. They're only losing 5 minutes at the end of the practice session, but the hydraulic leak should be fair enough, easy enough to find out, given that they have 3 hours or so till the next practice session. If Max quits Red Bull, which team do you think you'd go to? Well, I don't think Max is going to quit Red Bull. Given that the teams right up there at the top are giving no signs of slowing down, I think Max is going to stay at Red Bull. And if not, Max is probably the quickest driver on the grid right now, so he can go to whichever team he wants. Any team will take him. The question is, does that team have enough money to meet Max Verstappen's demands, or yeah. Alright, 2 minutes 30 seconds remain of this practice session. Yeah, let's wait and see. What happened to Perez? Perez not taking part in the practice session. So if we just to recap what's been going on, Isaac Hadjar, Jack Doohan, Franco Colapinto, and Oliver Bearman, 4 new Formula 2 drivers, well, not new Formula 2 drivers, but 4 Formula 2 drivers that are taking part in a FP1 session to try and get their super license points, getting some miles on their super license so they can, drive in Formula 1. Had is Hadjar, Isaac Hadjar. Max won't move if it's so, who would it be? Max won't move, but if it is, who would it be? Typically, the best car is where they all go. Yeah, I think Max. All of the drivers do want to get into the best car. Like, I'm sure Fernando Alonso would, he would lose a finger on one of his hands to drive for the Red Bull team. Like, all of the drivers want to drive up at the top team. So the question is, does the top team want you? And yeah, if anyone needs practice, it would be Perez. Why is there more info available as to why? No, I think the teams kind of just decide on who they want to take out, which driver they want to swap out. Sometimes it's Verstappen, sometimes it's Perez. Maybe it's just an alternating basis. I don't normally watch practice sessions, so unfortunately I can't give you that information. But yeah. Okay, if Norris and Max didn't collide in Austria 2024, what position do you think Norris would end in? Ooh, I think Lando Norris would have ended up ahead of Verstappen. Say on that one move, he got ahead of him at turn number 4. I think Lando Norris would have stayed ahead. Yeah, who knows? No worries, Sophia. Yeah, glad you guys are enjoying the team radio. I think it's a nice little touch that adds to the immersion of Formula 1. But there we go, 3 seconds left of the practice session. The checkered flag is out. The drivers will be making their way to the grid to do their final grid starts, and then we will have just standard grid starts, and then the drivers will make their way into the pit lane to park up their cars and let the mechanics get to work. I'll be commentating the Formula 2, not the Formula 2, the FP2 session that will be starting in, well, the stream will start in 2 hours' time. The session will start in 2.5 hours' time. Yeah. So if you guys did enjoy this stream, then I will be streaming the Formula 2 as well. And, yeah. All right. As you can see, we've got a couple of drivers doing their fast, quick, soft tyre runs. The Red Bulls have taken out. The Red Bulls will probably be doing their quick runs in FP2, but let's wait and see. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think there isn't too much else from me. The drivers are just making their way around. We've had a couple more replays of drivers. Oh, Lando Norris. Oh no, almost crashing into one of the Red Bulls, and that's really not gone well for him. Isaac Hadjar getting in the way of Lando Norris, saying sorry that I couldn't see him. And yeah, as Lando Norris comes by, he waves at him, trying to say sorry, but yeah, Norris just drives away. It's not looking good. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough situation. Isaac Hadjar saw him right at the last moment and then moved, and Lando Norris was kind of just expecting Isaac Hadjar to stay on the same line, so a little bit unpredictable. And Lando Norris nearly crashing, having a massive lock-up, trying to not crash into Isaac Hadjar. Yeah. I'm sure Isaac Hadjar will go over to the McLaren garage and just to say sorry to Lando Norris, but yeah. Right. That has been FP1. Cheers for tuning in, folks. Indeed, rookies, what can you say? But yeah, once again, it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. I'll be doing FP2 in 2 hours' time. The sessions will start in 2.5 hours' time. And if you do want to help out the channel, then there is a Patreon link or a Buy Me a Coffee link down in the description. And anything else? Yeah, I mean, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. We're getting pretty close to 500. Subscribe as well. And yeah, have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I'll see you in 2 hours' time for the free practice 2 session. Cheers, fellas. See you in the next one.